Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. If you know, you know. Doing laundry. Alright, what do we got going on here? New project, because I needed more of those. If you're familiar with this is the new Hangar 9 BAE Hawk. Well, the T-45 Hawk, Goshawk I guess is what they're calling it. It's actually a BAE Hawk, mostly in a T-45 paint scheme. Don't look at that. Yeah, and they chose the T-45 scheme because I think most people kind of prefer American schemes. But if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you've been watching for a while, thanks for watching. We got a lot of new subscribers this year. It's been a busy few days, and I didn't do any videos on the actual final finishing, but you can see here that I've got the Cali Graphics paint mask done on the Saber. Turned out really nice. Definitely happy with how the airplane turned out. And I did a community post with some pictures, so I got that done. And I also repainted the Corsair, not fully, but did bigger stars and bars because the last ones weren't quite big enough, and we changed the paint scheme. This one's called Old 122. It's had 100 bombing missions without a single return to base for aircraft issues, so it has some history to it. And they, after the 100th mission, they took it back to the States and toured Corsair factories with it, which is kind of cool. But anyways, we did this because Scale Masters is coming up, and the original paint scheme wouldn't have done well statically for the judging, just because we only had one picture of it, and it kind of didn't look like a three-tone paint job in the picture. So I had to look for something three-tone. I had to do some changes to it, not just the markings. I had to change the camouflage line in the front. Anyways, that's all done, ready to go. We're gonna be putting bomb drops in that. We're also going to be putting bomb drops in this, and I just finished the repaint on this airplane. So this is my Warbird P-47. So, kind of for the same reasons, I decided to change the paint scheme on the P-47. I couldn't find any pictures of the zombie paint scheme that was on here. So I found a couple pictures of this paint scheme. A couple of big differences are that it does not have invasion stripes on the top of the fuselage or the wing. Obviously the numbers and letters changed. That was pretty much it. I left the stars and bars alone, and the checkers and the lower, pretty much the whole bottom I didn't even touch. I did actually repaint all the silver on top, essentially. So really happy with it. I think it turned out sweet. I went a little lighter on the weathering, and then of course we got the Corsair, which is basically ready to go to Scale Masters. So anyways, it's been a busy few days. We did the Corsair, finished the Saber, and did the P-47 repaint in the last few days. And I get this question a lot: how do I get so much done? And I've mentioned it before, but the short answer is that, well, I don't watch TV really. I don't watch movies. I don't really play a lot of video games. I don't hang out with a lot of friends because I don't have a whole lot, and most of them live far away. So, and I work 410s typically, so I have 3 days off every weekend, which is nice. But, anyways, I don't sit very often, so I'm always in here in the garage tinkering, and the garage is kind of my happy place. So, anyways, here's the fuselage. This thing is an absolute monster. I mean, look at that. That's the E-Flight Viper 90 right there. That thing's it's freaking huge, man. It's crazy. So anyways, I'm gonna knock this build out, then get to finish the A4. That's kind of the next thing. As far as assembly goes, I'm not gonna cover a whole lot. I'll probably tune in occasionally to show progress. I'm waiting on my servos and stuff. But I figured I'd go ahead and get everything hinged because that's the most annoying part. Throwing servos in won't take that long. So, if you're familiar with the Hangar 9 MB339, which we had before, and we sold to help fund this. The construction is identical essentially. The assembly for this airplane is very similar to that one. The biggest differences would be there's a lot more hinges in this one, and this airplane has gear doors, which are optional. You don't have to install them. So it's got gear doors. Obviously, it's made for a much bigger turbine. We're going to be running a Swwin or a CRX, same thing, 170B. So I know they recommend up to 160, but you could potentially go a little bit bigger than that. So my friend Andy was selling a 170, which he had purchased in the intent of getting one of these Hawks and then backed out. So I bought the motor off of him. It's essentially brand new. And I had a Swwin in the past, two of them actually, in my T-38, and I actually really liked them. So looking forward to that. Anyways, first step that you do for hinging on this airplane is I actually take a syringe and I use turbine oil, and I just put a little tiny bit in the hinge, and then I, come on, focus, little fella, and then I work it back and forth, work it in there. And then on the control horns, which I'm going to kind of do at the same time as I mix the epoxy, and I'll be using Zap 30-minute. This is really good stuff, by the way. And what I do beforehand, instead of hand sanding everything, I take my Dremel with a little drum on it, and real low speed, just kind of kiss the paint off of it. And then, yeah, we'll glue those in, hinge everything up, and then we'll go to the wings, get those knocked out, maybe get the gear installed and the turbine installed, and the tank assembled. And then by that point I should have my servos. So anyways, I'm not sure how much this we're actually going to cover, because like I said, it's a pretty straightforward assembly. I'm not going to be changing anything to the airplane aside from possibly redoing the paint job. So not that I dislike this paint scheme. It's not terrible. It's nice looking, but I don't like having the same thing as everybody else. And since it really doesn't look like a T-45, I mean, it kind of does, but looks more like a Hawk, and it is fun scale, or not fun scale, but it's sport scale, I would say, and that's to make it a better flying airplane for more people to enjoy. So it's got bigger tails and bigger wings, but it is a good looking airplane, and it should be a lot of fun to fly. So it is actually quite a bit larger than I thought it was going to be. I mean, I know that they gave the numbers, the specs, you know, it's 103 inches long. I know that's big, but it's really big. So anyways, I don't even know if it's going to fit in the car with this airplane at the same time. It might not. We'll see. Anyways, let's get this stuff glued in, and we'll move on to the wings, maybe throw the landing gear in it, and keep on trucking. Okay, so I've got all the push rods temporarily, well, not temporarily, they're installed on the flight control, obviously, and just waiting on servos. So everything's been hinged, and yeah, easy peasy. You do have to break these out. These are part of the assembly process, I guess, or maybe they leave them in for shipping so they don't get crushed. But anyways, these come out, the servos get mounted through here, arms stick out there. Ordered some really nice aluminum arms that they recommend for Spectrum servos. So anywho, it's time to move on to the wings, I suppose. Okay, so we got the wing out. It's pretty big, as you can see. The landing gear are actually super nice units. Now the wheels are small for scale, but everything is very high quality. It would appear that maybe JP makes these. Anyways, I'm going to bolt that in. One of the cool things about this kit is that everything comes nicely bagged for you, so lots of nice hardware. And the flaps and ailerons, the ailerons are almost fully concealed, but not quite. So the push rod comes out of this slot here. The flaps, much like the MB339, push rod connects right here to the front side of the flap. So the flap setup's all concealed, minus the hinges. But anyways, we're going to bolt this landing gear in. Probably call it a night. I have to get up early for work tomorrow morning, so I want to keep these videos kind of shorter. You see, we got the tails all ready to go for servos. And yeah, we're going to keep these short. Hope you guys liked the first episode of the Hangar 9 Hawk, and we'll see you in the next one.